Okay, so we were discussing on the introduction of supply chain management, the basic preliminary discussions about what supply chain is and how the supply chain works. What are the components which are associated with supply chain and how uh, the supply chains now the work for the industries. Yesterday, we have discussed about the basic concepts of supply chain and how these chains are interlinked, interrelated, how the performance of supply chain depends upon the performance of each chain of supply chain. That we have discussed yesterday, and we have seen that if any link of the supply chain is weak, then the effect of that weakness is observed in the performance of overall performance of the supply chains. So when we talk about supply chain, it is not only transportation of material or movement of material, but also it includes the movement of and uh, flows of other components which are associated with the supply chain. These components now they includes money flow, these includes information flow, material flow, and obviously optimization flow or the efficiency flows. So these are different components which affect on the supply chain. Now today we will be discussing on what are the stages of supply chain and how these stages affect on the performance of the supply chain. Okay, around 48. Where are others joining? Can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we will be discussing on stages of supply chain. Now this is what the traditional supply chain is, or it looks like this. These are the stages of supply chain. There are basically 5 stages which are in fact dynamic, which is not necessarily fixed that these stages now will be always present in all supply chains. So it starts from supplier, from left hand side, then it goes to the manufacturer, then it goes to the distributor, then the retailer, and then customer. So starting from supplier to customer, whatever comes in between the manufacturing and transportation of goods, that is coming under the supply chain, and this is a traditional supply chain. So we get the materials from suppliers, we send it to the manufacturers, manufacturers manufacture the components, then it goes to the distributor, through distributor it goes to retailers, and then it is going to customers. But as I said that now this is dynamic and this is not necessarily true in all the cases, and since the nature of businesses are changing, people can directly purchase from the manufacturers. So the stages now the some stages now they can be eliminated in supply chains, and so the flows are shown like this. Even if this is from supplier to manufacturer, this can be from supplier to distributor, as in case of some online uh, business companies which does not manufacture anything, but they get the materials from suppliers. So if you consider Amazon, then as if you consider the supply chain of Amazon India, then there are about 1 million suppliers for Amazon. So Amazon takes the materials from around 10 lakh suppliers, where any businessman can register with the Amazon, and they can sell their products now through the network or supply chain of Amazon. And so in that case, now the stage of manufacturer is eliminated. Then that supplier chain becomes now the supplier to distributor, then retailer, and then customer. Or in that case, now this retailer also may not be there. Then Amazon works as a distributor. And then in that case, now there are only three stages. One is supplier, another one is a distributor, and then there is a customer. Sometimes now these retailers are present now the in the form that they have their local distributor. So if they have distributor at center, then this material now is supplied through local distributors. We can call them as retailers. So if you see the Amazon and if you track the material which is supplied by Amazon, you will see that it is coming from different sectors or different locations now in India. You may get some material which is you are getting from Delhi or Noida or maybe Kolkata, and so in that case now it will be coming from that distributor to your location, and then through that now it will be coming to customer. So when we are talking about the effectiveness of that supplier, then each stage now becomes important, and efficiency of each stage affects on the overall efficiency of the supply chain. There can be multiple suppliers. Now, as I said, in case of Amazon supply chain, there are about 10 lakh suppliers, and then so these suppliers now they can be uh, interrelated with many manufacturers or many distributors, and then the materials are given to the customers. So these are different stages. Now, as we have seen that now these stages are dynamic, as we have already discussed. Now, as it is dynamic because some of the stages now they may be missing, or in some cases there may be multiple distributors or dealers. And so in that case, the stages now they may increase. As we have seen that now even if we say suppliers, there can be a stage one supplier or tier one supplier, tier two supplier, tier three suppliers. So there can be a chain of suppliers, there can be a chain of manufacturer also, where the products are manufactured in different by different manufacturers or same manufacturer which is working at different locations. And then they can be assembled at one place, and then it can go through supplier either directly or through distributors and dealers. Supply chain involves now the flow of information, products, and funds between different stages. So this is not only the product flow, but this is also information flow, fund flow. Now, if you see the direction of these flows, then the products usually the flow from supplier to manufacturer to distributor to retailer and customer. So this is the usual flow of materials where maximum movement takes place, or maximum material or maximum transportation takes place. But this is not the only way in which this flow flows. This can also flow in the reverse direction. That is in case of returns. Many times it is observed that in case of now the online distributors, now the, just like Amazon, then everything can be returned. So you have given certain period, and within that period you can return that. Then in that case, now that material will be flowing from customer to retailer to distributor to manufacturer. So up to this manufacturer, most probably it will come, or it will come up to distributor, and maybe distributor will do some corrections in that, and if required, and then that can be again flowing through another retailer or another customer. As far as information flow is considered, now as we know that if the information is not available, then it directly affects on the business, and so information flow is very important. Information about the products, information about the specifications, information about the prices, information about the quality or quality standards used by manufacturers, and your feedbacks, customer review. Usually whenever nowadays whenever customer purchases, customer looks for the customer reviews, and this is very important. You will also agree that whenever you want to purchase something, first of all customer goes to customer review. If reviews are absent, then it may affect on the sales of the organization, and so that information is also very essential for the supply chain. Now another flow which we have seen is that funds flow. If you see the funds flow, usually funds flow from customer towards supplier. Customer gives the money to retailers, retailers gives money to distributor by cutting his commissions. Distributor then transfers the money to manufacturer by cutting his commissions, and then manufacturer pays supplier now the as per the rates now which are agreed between supplier and manufacturer. And so the fund flow will be moving in the opposite direction to the material flow, but vice versa is also possible. Now whenever now there are returns, in that case maybe the money will be flowing from distributor to retailer to customer, or directly from distributor to customer, or in some cases now it may also flow from manufacturer to customers, either through this link or directly. So this is the these are different flows in supply chain now which are affecting on the performance of the supply chain. Now we were discussing on the stages of supply chain. Now, as we have seen that now these are the traditional stages of supply chain, but in case of online businesses, as we have seen that many times the manufacturer is not involved, it is not known, or sometimes manufacturers work as a supplier, and the material flow or the stages now they will be manufacturer, distributor, retailer, customer, or the shortest supply chain will be manufacturer and customer. Like in many businesses like MLM. In that case, now the manufacturers will be directly dealing with the customers, and there will not be any retailer or distributor. So in that case, now these stages of supply chains now they may be missing, and less the stages now we will understand that now there will be more efficiency, because less flexibilities will be there, less money will be involved, and so the materials only can be purchased now at cheaper rate and at some less errors, less mistakes, and so the effectiveness of the supply chains now they will be more if the stages of supply chain are less. And so in order to make our supply chains more effective, the effort should be to reduce the stages in the supply chain. The supply chain now which direct distribute the materials from manufacturer to customers will be the most efficient supply chains, and there will be less mistakes, and so the sigma levels now of these supply chains will be higher as compared to the traditional supply chains. Now, after seeing the stages of supply chain, now we will see the decision phases of supply chain. Now, decision phases are the phases now where the supply chains now they need to decide something, take decisions about information, about prices, about funding, about ways of transportation, about storing of materials, and so these decisions now they will be divided into different phases. Now after the stages of supply chain, now we will see what are these decision phases now of supply chain. The first phase of supply chain is the supply chain strategy or design. Now, as we have seen that now there are different stages of supply chain, and depending upon product, the first thing and most important thing is to design a supply chain. Now, designing supply chain is a most crucial piece now which affects on the overall productivity or success of supply chain. If your supply chains are successful, obviously your business will get more and more profits. If your supply chains are facing problems, then definitely it will affect on the costs of the product, because supply chain now the considers on the how you are negotiating with your suppliers, how you are manufacturing. As we have seen that manufacturing is nothing not only to convert raw material into finished products but to produce with more efficiency, because the way to increase your profits or earn profits is only to increase the productivity of the processes. And productivity, as this is a continuous process, now this can be achieved in one stage, and every day you have to work on that. And so companies are using different techniques like lean manufacturing or Six Sigma or Poka or just in time manufacturing or single minute exchange of dies, whatever. So these all tools now they will be implemented in order to increase the productivity of the processes. Yesterday also we have discussed that now the yes, technology is one thing, but once technology is implemented, this is a strategic decision. technology works for long term. You cannot change the technology or for manufacturing any product on daily basis. And so once you accept the technology, then there are no much opportunities for the engineers to increase the productivity. So the only increased productivity can be increased by implementing these quality tools. As we know that the productivity is nothing but it is the tool to measure now the how your uh, outputs are uh, in comparison with the inputs, and this is sometimes now defined as a ratio of output to input. Now how can you measure the productivity? What is the productivity? Yes.
How much work is being done basically?
How much work is done? Okay, but how will you measure that?
Suppose you have some daily tasks assigned, so this much work you have to finish in a day, and if it is finished, then they were post productive.
Okay, okay, yes sir, good. This is one way of measuring productivity, isn't it? The productivities can be measured in multiple terms. This is one way that now the in terms of month and what is workforce required. If that is manufactured by 1,000 workers, instead of that now the if somebody is manufacturing in 900 workers, then that can be more productive, isn't it? Or we can measure the work hours now of the employees. Yes, now that can be another productivity. Yes, Nikhil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is another way of in measuring the productivity?
Uh, if in production company, as per our planning, how much production we are taking as
Yeah,
per
but the
what
productivity
is our
is a ratio. Is a ratio. You will compare this output with what?
what we have planned for our production, daily production planning as per how much production we are taking.
No, no. We are talking
Actual,
about the productivity. Productivity, as we have seen that it is nothing but a ratio of output upon input. We have discussed now the some ways of measuring productivity, that now the output divided by workforce or output divided by time. So likewise now the what are other ways to measure the productivity?
it can be, sir, actual production upon planning planned production.
Mm, no, but we need something tangible to measure. No, means okay. We have planned that 1,000 cars to be manufactured, and we have manufactured 900 cars. Is it like that?
Yes, sir.
No, this will not be coming under productivity. We can say this will give us what is our efficiency. We have planned this much and we have capacity this much, and we have not done that. So that will be efficiency of that. But what about productivity? Nishant?
Yes, sir. Sir, let us consider an example that in a particular production facility,
Hmm.
some amount of raw material is required to produce a particular goods, right?
Yes.
So, if it happens that the amount of wastage for a particular for making a particular good is very less, then we can say that the process is productive.
Yes, very good. See that was another answer which I was expecting. See how much you are producing from given material. Suppose you have given a sheet, then this is very good way to increase your productivity and profits. Now, suppose आपको कुछ punching करना है, आपको एक डिजाइन दिया है कि this punching is to be done. and some raw material is given. So you can design some punching way by which now the suppose एक 1 by 1 मीटर का शीट दिया है, उसमें से आपने suppose 50 components आपने निकाले. Somebody may design the angle in which this punching can be done in such a way that instead of 50 somebody can manufacture 55. So in that case the productivity will be 55 divided by 1 square meter. So in that case the productivity will be more. Yes, any other way, Prajakta?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, any other way? One sector to measure productivity we are missing. So what is that?
Sir, the cost, the
Yes,
funds.
exactly. Yes, exactly. I was coming to that. Yes. Srikanth, please explain. What is that?
Yes, sir. The amount of output we are getting divided by input means how much money we are putting.
Yes, exactly. Yes. How much money and how much is output? Yes, definitely. It can be that some company now they has invested around 200 crores and they are making now products of suppose 1,000 cars. Some company may have invested now the 150 crores and they are also manufacturing 1,000 cars. Some another way is that now the how much is investment and what is your profit, isn't it? So that also can be product. So whatever output, whatever terms now the you measure output, and in whatever terms now the you measure input, the ratio of that becomes a productivity. It can be time consumed, it can be money invested, it can be material invested, it can be how much investment now the you are doing. And if you consider the productivities or the profit ratios now of these online companies, now they are very high because there is no any manufacturing, there is no any investment, there is no any manpower, much manpower required. Even if now their sales are more, their profits are more, and it is directly affecting on the cost. Now the why sometimes now we see that on online, if you see the costs of online businesses now they are much less. This is because most of the things now are eliminated, like all distributors are avoided, so their profits are avoided, dealers are avoided, their profits are avoided, the delay in transportation is avoided. There can be a common transportation network now which can be used, and so which is making them to sell the products at lower cost, which is going business benefit to the customers, and definitely the productivity is increasing. And so with less investment, less manpower, less energy, also productivity can be measured that now how much energy you are using and how much output we are getting. So any output measured in any terminology divided by any input measured in any terminology, that becomes a productivity for many organizations. And so whenever we will be designing supply chain, the most important thing is that now what is the strategy or what is design? How do you design your supply chain? This is as I said that now this is a strategic decision. Strategic decisions are the decisions now which once taken now they cannot be changed for long term. Like suppose now the you are taking the decision about now the what type of business now the you want to start. This is strategic decision. So the strategic decisions now the once taken now the this becomes now the very difficult to change, and then it affects on the overall success of the supply chain. Ravi, can you tell me some other strategic decisions? Ravi Desai.
Sir, the work done by a worker and upon the ability of the worker.
No, I'm talking about strategic
Oh,
decisions.
oh, sorry, sir. Like, so, like, uh, like reducing the optimizing the product.
Optimization is not a strategic decision. So you can optimize every day, and that is what is engineers. See what engineers are doing. After your graduation, now the whenever you will be joining organizations, now the yes, now the हर दिन आपको वही बोलेगा आज आपका ये टारगेट है. Now see in most of the companies now the what will be your role, आपका रोल तो यही रहेगा कि उनका सब मैन्युफैक्चरिंग डिसाइडेड है, उनके ऑल प्रोसेसेस डिसाइडेड है, उनकी टेक्नोलॉजी डिसाइडेड है. व्हाट एज द इंजीनियर यू नीड टू डू, आपको हर रोज जाके वो कुछ नया डिजाइन नया टेक्नोलॉजी डिजाइन नहीं करना है. Even what design people are doing, they are not designing any technology, everything is set, and in that case now the only work which engineer has to do is increase productivity. हर दिन आपके पास बॉस आके बैठेगा और बोलेगा कि आज कितना प्रोडक्शन किया बताओ, आज कितना एनर्जी सेव किया बताओ. तो every day the target for engineers will be to increase your productivity. We are talking that now the productivity, once you take some strategic decision, then it becomes not very difficult to change the productivity. So I am asking you, what are these strategic decisions? Now, as I told, one strategic decision, कौन सा business करना है. Suppose now somebody of you have decided that now चलो अभी job नहीं करेंगे, we will start our business. Now the first question is that now what business you will do. So that decision is a strategic decision, because once you decide to do some business, now then you will be locked for that business now at least for some 4-5 years. Now जब तक आपको समझता नहीं कि either I can proceed with this business or I have to shut it down and I have to go for another business. So this is strategic decision.
Demand things.
Likewise, now what are other strategic decisions now which are associated with the businesses? Yes, Ravi, please.
So like we can do that business which is very demanding.
No. This is I'm just asking what are the examples of strategic decisions.
So like one thing I told it which is demanding.
No, Ravi. Yeah, my question is that now this is one example of strategic decisions. So likewise, what are the other strategic decisions a person should take now in businesses? Like कौन सा business करना है, एक तो हो गया. What are the others? Are you getting my question?
Yes, sir, I'm getting the question.
Yes, Pratik. Manufacturing process. Yes.
So the distribution.
What do you mean by distribution?
So the how we will distribute the product.
Okay. It is like distribution networks.
Yes, sir. And which
But you can change that. See, what are strategic decisions? Strategic decisions have long-term effect on businesses. Means the decisions which you take once now they cannot be changed. अभी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर तो you can change the distributor. कल आप डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर को नहीं बोल सकते कि नहीं आप आपसे नहीं होगा. We will appoint another distributor. Or there can be multiple distributors.
So the technologies we will use.
Yes, exactly. Technology is a strategic decision. Okay, whatever technology you will implement, accordingly you have to purchase now the all machineries and installation, and so that will be a strategic decision. Yes. और क्या हो सकते हैं, सलोनी?
Yes, sir.
What could be other strategic decisions? Yes, exactly. Location is very, very important strategic decision. Location is very important. Now, see what happened. Now, you take the case study of Singur. Tata Nano. You know that case study. You know Tata Nano's case study? Sagar Ghode. Sagar, am I audible to you? Sagar Nikam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Location
Sure.
is please go ahead.
Sir, I'm not aware of the Tata Singur, the case study.
Okay. Anything you know about the Nano project?
Sir, not much, but basically it was created to cater the needs for people who cannot afford costly cars, but at the same time can afford cars with safety rather than two-wheelers and all those things.
Okay, no, that's there. But what happened to
Yeah.
Nano project? That was my anybody knows Singur case? Sarthak? This is very well known case study in Indian manufacturing history. Not very old.
Sir, it was marketed in a wrong way.
How?
Sir, it was told that it was the cheapest car, but it could have been
No, no,
most affordable car.
okay, but people think this is most affordable even today. Okay, that is that we are not going to that strategy. I'm talking about now the location decision, how it is strategically important.
So the plant location where it was initially supposed to be, there were a lot of claims that it was the land was acquired, not in a very official hmm, way.
Yes, see, initially what happened? Now this Tata Nano, yeah, as you know that now the yes, now it was Tata's dream project to sell the cars now the at very reasonable price now the for a common person. So they have planned that we will be selling the car now the at 1 lakh rupees. So 1 lakh was a price target, and it was really very tough task for Tata. Now, when you have certain objective to sell a car now the in 1 lakh, now this is really tough task now because when the in market now the cars are not available below 2 lakh, 2.5 lakhs, then selling car at 1 lakh was really tough. Then you need to take decisions now the very strategically. So the first decision now the which Tata has taken was about the location. देखो पहले सबसे पहले आपको क्या चाहिए कि आपको सस्ता बेचना है तो आपको सब चीजें सस्ती मिलनी चाहिए. You should get materials at cheaper cost, you should get land at cheaper cost, and the most important thing which is a recurring cost now is about the employees. The third most important thing was that no, आपको employees बहुत सस्ते मिलने चाहिए. The things now which can be managed now the cheaper now the in India presently are in the eastern part of India. Like if you to West Bengal, if you go to Odisha, uh, you go to Bihar, or you can go to some northeast states. Northeast states are not much cheap because government has invested a lot of funds over there, and a lot of central government companies and oil companies are there. So the first is either Bihar or West Bengal or Odisha. You can go to that part. Now, one thing is that now you can get either cheap labors, but what about the technical capabilities, raw materials required for that? And so, looking at all these factors, now the West Bengal government has offered them some land. Uh, the government at that time was I think Jyoti Basu was the chief minister. This was a communist government. They have offered land, and already now since West Bengal has less industries, now they have offered them a lot of uh, concessions in taxation. As you know that now the labors in eastern part are cheaper, so they have fixed that location. But later on, there were some problems, like they may be political problems or whatever problems. So they forget about the nature of the problem. But this is very important. See how it affects on the business. I'm discussing this case study because this is very important, recent case study, and it is now the very important now the whenever we take the strategic decisions. The decision was that decision wrong to set the plant now the in West Bengal. Yes, anybody? Was that decision wrong? Where Tata's wrong? Varun,
Yes, so
yeah.
uh,
You have any idea about how are these costs associated with different segments of India at least? Varun, am I audible?
yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Hmm.
So it's very low, but you're audible. Just a minute. Hello.
Yes. Anybody else? Was that decision wrong?
Partially.
Why partially?
So the political atmosphere of that state was not taken under consideration
Yes,
because
exactly. Very good, very good.
Was a
Yes.
very big factor in demolition of the whole plant and the project.
Yes, definitely. See that plant has to shut down, and Tata has to incur huge losses of 2,000 crores. See, once you are planning, you will be manufacturing, you will be selling car at 1 lakh rupees, which is really very difficult, which is almost impossible. People were thinking it is impossible, but Tata has made it possible by considering so many factors. The only option in front of them was all inputs now they should be cheaper. If your productivity has to be higher, as we say that now it is in the denominator factor, then it has to be less. And so the only place now where you can have your plant is the eastern part. So in eastern part, if you go to Bihar, if you go to Odisha or West Bengal. Now these are the three options. But they have got offer that now they will be offering you land, the labors will be cheaper, the materials. Now yes, now the West Bengal as compared to Bihar and Odisha is better because they have some Kolkata is there in West Bengal. It is nearby. They have ports. Then transportation now they can be cheaper. Labors are also available over there. They are having good manpower and cheap manpower. So these are all things now they were considered. Even see, as Saloni is saying that now it was not like that now the political things were not considered, but there is uncertainty. How see the strategic decisions now the affect on that. The then opposition leader Mamata Banerjee has made that as a political issue, and then there were a lot of arguments about the land acquisition, and then so many things now they were there. And then because of that now there were so much problems that they could not run the plant, and they have to shut down that plant. This is strategic decision. So the strategic decision now they has affected on the overall project or that concept. Then Tata has to shift that now the plant from West Bengal or Singur to Gujarat. And then as you know that now the Gujarat is also not a cheap state. Now the here in Mumbai also you see that in Maharashtra also labors are not cheap. Why all people are coming to Maharashtra or Mumbai? Because they are getting good salaries. Then as compared to other states, they are getting opportunities, they are getting jobs, and so this is not a cheap area. So a project now the or like a small car with the lowest now the cost car, now that project now they cannot be run now the in states like Gujarat or Maharashtra. But there was no option, and so Tata has to ship that plant here. And so this is one strategic decision. See how it affects now. If you see the status of the this nano car, then today we don't see nano car existing in the market. But at one time now whenever it was launched, that was dream project or dream car now for many of the Indians, many of the customers. There were huge demand, there was waiting period for that car. But now that project now is nowhere. This is not very long journey. This history can be, I think, 2009 or sometimes now this Singur has happened, and then they have to shift it here. So it has now they wasted a lot of time, lot of energy, and a huge cost burden of about 2,000 crores. So this happens now when strategic decisions are wrong. So location is now the very important strategic decision. Business is a strategic decision. Whatever technology you are using, that is a strategic decision. What suppliers you are selecting, that is also strategic decision, because now the once you select suppliers, it will be affecting on many of the products on the which you are manufacturing. You might have heard about many cases now the where company has to call back their products, like Honda City, many cars now they were called back. So many companies have called back, and this is because of the wrong supply of material. So supplier selection is also a strategic decision. Even hiring any person on top position, that also becomes strategic decision. Even if that is for the small period, now the impact is now the very huge, and it affects in long term now the on the organization. So these are strategic decisions, and these strategic decisions now they should be taken now the very carefully. And so this is very important stage now the which we were talking about. So the first stage of supply chain strategy or design is the most important thing in design, because this is strategic stage. What we will be deciding in strategy or supply chain strategy or design? What will be now the chains now the configuration? Configuration means how supply chain will be there. Supply chain is also strategic decision. मतलब आप कहाँ manufacturing plant का खड़ा where will you erect this manufacturing plant? Where will be your supplier? Location of the suppliers. Why suppliers is a strategic decision. You may say that now we can change the supplier. Yes, we can change the suppliers, but changing the suppliers now has a long term impact on your productions. So the distance of suppliers now from your place. What is the variability of suppliers, and how many times supplier can supply materials now within short notice period, because this is a frequent requirement of industry. Even if now you have given order for some material for some of the organizations, the demands are changing. The demands are not certain. The flexibility of demand is now the very high in any businesses, and so accordingly you have to get the materials from suppliers. So capacity of supplier to produce that uh, uncertain demands or fulfill the demands of uncertain demands now is also crucial factor while deciding the suppliers. So change configuration is important, so strategic decision. So this is what is strategy or design configuration. Then how so resources now they should be allocated. Resource allocation is that now you might have some different manufacturing lines or assembly lines, we say production lines in production. So how these lines will be allocated? So this is related to scheduling and sequencing. So scheduling and sequencing is important. If scheduling is not appropriate, then it will be affecting on overall production. Then your productions now the may be delayed now if sequencing is not proper. Scheduling is not proper, sequencing is not proper. It will affect on the waiting period on machines. Either material will be waiting, or that machine will be waiting, or that operators will be waiting. And so this is resource allocation is also important part. What process now the each stage now they will perform in different stages now the as we have discussed, that also it need to be decided now the in the strategy design. So specifically it includes now the location and capacities of the production and warehousing facilities and make or buy decision. Like location, as we have seen, that where should be location, what should be capacities of production, because locations now the many times now it is not good to decide one location for any plant. See, this will be required now whenever we will be designing our supply chains. Now whenever we have to design our supply chains, we have to decide now where will be our location. It is always advisable that now instead of now one location you go for multiple locations. So multiple locations तो कहाँ करेंगे? It will depend upon now where are your customers. Now some company, if they're distributing the products now throughout India, depending upon requirements, they may decide now some plant in east, some plant in west, some plant in north, some plant in south. So that decision, location decision now becomes the strategy decision. Then capacities. Now this is also a major work in supply chain management. Now how much production you will produce from which plant, that will be capacity of production. Warehousing facilities. Warehousing कहाँ करेंगे आप? So when we are talking about the warehousing decisions, now this decision again is a strategic decision, because once you do that, now that cannot be changed now immediately, or it has long term impact. It has impact on cost. It has impact on the time in which you are delivering product to the customers. And the next one is a make or buy decision. What is this make or buy? What is make or buy decision? Yes, I think you might have known. Yes, Gaikwad. Make or buy decision.
So it is basically decide if you purchase it or in-house manufacture.
Yes, exactly. See, make or buy decision is again a strategic decision where you decide now whether that product has to be manufactured or purchased from outside. Now, many times, see, many organizations are not doing. If you take the good example of this is Godrej manufacturing. Godrej, now you see Godrej is now there in furnitures now, which was very well known, and keys and locks. So as far as their furniture business is concerned, Godrej does not manufacture anything. Godrej now they get it manufactured from small vendors which were here in the Bhandup वगैरह ये सब area में इनके सब industry. So they used to manufacture इनके cupboards है, tables है, chairs है. They used to manufacture them. It will go to Godrej. Godrej will just verify whether it is manufactured as per their design standards and then stamp that it is manufactured by Godrej. And all finishing, painting, and all these things that will be done. And so the decision to whether to make inside or buy from outside, now this is also strategic decision, which is actually cost-based decision, whether to make or buy. How much is the cost on the if you manufacture inside, and how much is the cost on the if you buy from outside. Another thing is now the what is technology, whether that technology can be transferred to your suppliers, now the who will manufacture on your behalf and supply to you. So that is important now whenever you take the make or buy decision. Then transportation modes along with the different shipping legs. Now the transportation, yes, now this is also a design stage of the supply chain. वहाँ पे आपको decide करना है कि how will you transport the raw materials from suppliers to your plant, or how will you transport the materials from your manufacturing plant to your warehouses, or how will you transport now your materials now from warehouses to your customers. Now this has become complex because the supply chains are not only in one country or one continent. Now the supply chains are spread all over the world. If you consider the good supply chains are again garment industry. Garment supply chains are again best supply chains to study. Now because if you see the garment business, now this is a very huge business as we know, and garment business now is most of the market for garment industries now is in the US and European countries. But if you see who manufactures the garments now for these countries, now the most of the any idea where these garments are manufactured? Where are manufacturing hubs of garments? Anybody? Surat, Ahmedabad. No, I'm talking about world markets.
Bangladesh.
Yes, exactly. Bangladesh, then yes. India. Manchester, yes, Manchester is also there. But see, now there are two types of garments now they're required in European market. Now one is now those who are very rich garments. Now these type of garments now which are having very short cycle times. I hope you understand cycle time. So which has very less cycle time. Now they are manufactured only in Europe. Other all garments now they are manufactured now in Asian countries, like in Bangladesh now which is again the major hub for manufacturing, India, or maybe in some part of Pakistan, or you see Malaysia, Vietnam. Yes, now in these countries now these are products, and then they are transported now to Europe as per the requirement. And so the network distribution is very long. So you have to if you go to Europe and if you see many times now you see that now the manufactured in India or manufactured in Bangladesh, ये आपको टैक्स दिखेंगे वहां पे. आप जब मॉल्स में जाएंगे and if you compare the prices and आपको इंडिया की प्राइसेस मालूम होती है, तो आप वहां जाके आप देखते हैं कि हाँ इसका कितना है, इसका इतना है. 10 यूरो है तो उसको 80 से 82 से जो भी यूरो का रेट चल रहा है उससे आप मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं. हाँ ये 800 में आ रहा है, ये 20 है तो ये 1600 में आ रहा है, तो इंडिया में इतने में मिलेगा. तो मेनी टाइम्स नाउ दीज वेयर इट इज कंपेरेबल, मतलब आपको लगेगा हाँ इंडिया में भी ऑलमोस्ट इतने में मिलता है. These all are manufactured now in Bangladesh or these Asian countries, and those now who are the products now for which cycle time एक reduce कम है और जिसकी cost बहुत ज़्यादा रहती है, most of them are now the product in European countries. So this is what is transportation modes. तो इसके लिए transportation modes now which transportation modes you will prefer, whether it will be going through through planes or it will be going through ships, or then this is again complex. Transportation is also complex. Now कहाँ से कहाँ तक ट्रक से जाएगा, कहाँ से कहाँ तक ट्रेन से जाएगा, कहाँ से कहाँ तक फ्लाइट से जाएगा, देन कहाँ से कहाँ तक आप शिप से जाएगा. So what will be the waiting time? If suppose now the goods का पेरिशेबिलिटी उसका लाइफ कितना है, उसका इफ सपोज नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एपरल इंडस्ट्रीज, देन इसका व्हाट इज लाइफ टाइम, फैशन कितने टाइम में चेंज हो जाएगी, So all these now the things matter, and then accordingly you have to choose the transportation mode and type of information systems now need to be used, like types of information. Matlab, how fast now the information now they will be moving. So these are all now the things now which has to be decided into the design of supply chain. So Tata Nano ka ek Singur ka case now we have discussed. Then PepsiCo, that case now we will be discussing next time. Pepsi company's case study. So this is the first phase of designing supply chain. Now, as we have seen that our objective is to design some supply chain now for some actual products. So this is important now from that point of view. Okay, any doubts? Yes. Okay, today is 18th, no? No doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, then we go for attendance. Yes, 5-7 minutes are there. Yes, Karthik? Karthik, are you
Yes,
there?
sir. Yes, sir.
Shrikant,
Yes, sir.
Aditya,
Yes, sir.
Munish,
Yes, sir.
Rakesh,
Present, sir.
Sarthak, Raina,
Yes, sir.
Gurpreet,
Yes, sir.
Abhishek,
Yes, sir.
Vedant. Vedant is there? Amar,
Yes, sir.
Ansari,
Yes, sir.
Nikhil,
Yes, sir.
Harshal,
Yes, sir.
Siddesh.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then Jaivir Singh,
Present, sir.
Mrityunjay,
Yes, sir.
Ravi,
Yes, sir.
Praful. Praful is there? Okay. Okay. Praful is not. Sagar,
Yes, sir.
Venkatesh,
Yes, sir.
Suraj.
Yes, sir.
Suraj is there. Ritik,